QuickBooks Pro Plus Desktop 2022 Rental Income Setup Items. Get ready because we bookkeeping pros are moving up the hilltop with QuickBooks Pro Plus Desktop 2022. Here we are in our Get Great Guitars practice file, going through the setup process with the View drop-down, the Open Windows list on the left-hand side, Company drop-down, Home page in the middle, maximizing it to the gray area. Not opening up the financial statements at this point because we're setting up our items for our rental income scenario being, at this point, we got our guitar shop set up. We're selling guitars. We got guitar lessons going. And now we're thinking about renting some of the equipment out in order to pick up another revenue stream, another revenue source. The concept being that we're going to have customers request for equipment, possibly a standard band set or something like that. And we're going to ask for a security deposit when they request it so we can reserve that equipment for them. When they pick it up, then we're going to collect the rest of the rental income at that point in time. So if you're going to set some process up like this, some kind of rental type of system up, then the first thing we need to think about is what are going to be the billable items for it. How can we do the billable items? And we want to make this as easy as possible so that anybody can basically set it up. We don't want to be agonizing over what's going to be in the guitar set or what's going to be in the standard band set or how we're going to build the standard band set. We would like to come up oftentimes with some kind of package deal saying you can rent it for so long, like a weekend or 2 days or this long or possibly a week or something like that, and have a set time frame and let those fall into a standard set time frame so that if someone is booking the rental information, they can go right into the invoice, for example, or the deposit that we're going to be receiving and book it pretty easily. And it will be a lot more difficult if you have like a more complex kind of setup with regards to how you're going to be billing out the band set. So, and you'd also like it so you can advertise it and say, we're going to give this standard band set, for example, for a set price. So if you're thinking about the items, then that's going to be the first thing that will be driving the simplicity of the process. We're going to go to the lists drop down and look at the item list then. Now you might say that I'm going to put in my items per item. So you could do that. You could have someone construct what they need in their guitar and their band set. So every guitar is we're going to charge this much for how many days or something like that. But again, that gets a little bit more complex. That's one way you could do it. You can also try to say, hey, I'm going to give you a standard set. I mean, this is going to be our standard kind of guitar set. It's got 2 guitars and an amplifier and, drums in it or something like that. And you can maybe have some flexibility within that standard guitar set and possibly have add-ons from that guitar set. And that might be some kind of standard kind of way to go if you're thinking about something like this that could have multiple pieces saying this is the ground floor in order for us to provide the rental process. And then you might have some kind of add-on features from that point in time that are common kind of add-ons that you could charge basically more for or something like that. Let's consider that we're going to set up a standard kind of band setup. So I'm going to say items drop down or rise up. I'm going to say it's a new item. And we're going to say it will be a service item because we're not selling the inventory. We're just renting it. And I'm just going to call it a band set number 1 and assume that that has some standard kind of equipment that we're going to allow to be in place. We're going to say, hey, we've got these guitars on hand all the time. You could choose, from within this range of guitars. For 2 guitars possibly, then, a microphone within this range of the microphones that we typically have in place. And then possibly a drum set or something like that for our standard set. Obviously, I'm not an expert on the band sets here, so I'm just giving an idea of what you might end up doing in terms of packaging your products. And so then we're going to charge a standard rate for that. Let's say it's going to be $2,000 for that for whatever time frame. You might be saying it's going to be $2,000 per couple nights, 2 nights per weekend or something like that. I'm going to say that it's going to be non-taxable because we're not selling it. And then for the accounts, we could call this service item, or we might want to set up another account. Remember, you want to be careful about how many accounts you set up for the income accounts. You don't want to set up another income account for every item you sell, but a major category like rental equipment might warrant then another category on the income statement. So we might say, let's set up another income account as we do this, and let's call it rental income. Or let's call it equipment rental income. And so we'll keep it at that. It is an income account, so I'm going to save that. And so let's do that and say save. And then let's add like one or two more for an add-on type of thing. If they had some kind of add-on that they're going to include that would increase the price. So I'm going to edit again, or item, and then new item. And I'm going to call it just rental add on, guitar. So let's say they want another guitar or something like that. We'll say, we can add that on, another guitar for, $50. And it's going to be a non-taxable account. And it's going to go to the rental income account, and then save and close. And then I might say one more edit. Not edit. I'm not editing it. Hold on a second. Another item, new item. So then we might say that we want another item that's going to be rental add on amp. Like an add-on amp of some kind to make it louder. They want it louder than it is. Let's say that's going to be 40 and non-taxable, and it's going to go to the rental income account. Rental income, what did I call it? I called it equipment rental account. So those are going to be our items. So our general items. So I'm going to save it and close it. Save it and close it. So now we have our items set up. If I go back to the home page, then next time what's going to happen is we're going to imagine that we have someone calling us that they want to set up a rental process, and that we would like someone to be able to use those items to kind of guide them to what the standard kind of rental process would be able to then collect a down payment on it for the future rental process to reserve the equipment. Then when they come in and pick up the equipment, then we're going to, collect the rest and invoice at that point in time. So that's going to be the general concept. Next time we'll go in with that customer deposit.